Okay, so it's day number 28, November 24th, 2021. It's pretty early in the morning. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Today's flight was it was lesson number 29 because on the 26th day we had two lessons. We had a ground lesson and we had a flight lesson. And things were going okay. So definitely there's some things I want to talk about how I'm feeling and how I'm progressing. So again, like usual, day started off pretty normal. We get to the plane, we take off. We were going to start actually today with some taxi backs, which basically means we're going to land and then taxi back to the beginning of the runway and then take off again and then land, taxi back to the beginning of the runway and follow that pattern. The reason why we're doing that is because we're practicing again just for my solo. My school doesn't allow solo students to pretty much perform touch and goes during their solo. As I'm reading about and watching videos on YouTube, it seems that a lot of schools actually follow this policy. But anyways, those are going okay. Definitely need to work on my stopping because that's another thing to focus on now, which is right when you do touchdown, you want to maintain that center line and then slow the airplane down aerodynamically, but also use your brakes. But again, you're doing the aerodynamic braking just not to ride out the brakes completely. You never want to ruin your brakes, even in an airplane that you're renting. Okay, so how am I feeling though? So after we did two taxi backs, this last taxi back, we waited a really a good probably 8 to 10 minutes on the actual tarmac and at the hold short position of the runway because there was so many students in the pattern today. So it really is a shame that we have to waste that time where we've really just done so many touch and goes at this point. Like, I'd be more comfortable with the touch and goes if you told me I needed to solo tomorrow. Anyways, so we're gonna have to practice that. However, I do want to talk about for 1 second the feeling of taking a step back because a few days ago I had felt really confident in the cockpit on my landings, and today pretty much that confidence is not there anymore. And I'm not sure what how my mindset changed. I'm not sure if it was because of my little incident I caused a few days ago. Anyways, what I mean though is that we had one day with great landings, and then since then we haven't had one good day really. We've had a few good landings. We had a nice landing today that was pretty good, but they're not consistent. And this is really a little bit of a downtrodden feeling. It doesn't make you so happy. You're progressing and then you're taking a step back, and then you're progressing and taking a step back. But I will say that, folks are telling me around the flight school, whether that's some of my friends that I've met that are other students or some other instructors that I do talk to, not that I don't believe my instructor, but, it's always great talking to other people as well. And everyone says it's just part of the process of being a flight student and being a student pilot and being in flight school is you're going to have some good days and some bad days. And yes, your goal is consistency, but until you get to that point of consistency, you're going to have those good days and bad days. So I'm not giving up, of course not. This is something I really want. And whether it's going to take me another 200 landings, 300 landings, I am putting my best foot forward and, trying as hard as I possibly can to, fly as much as I can, show up on time, get to the airplane with my mindset, healthy. So I'm going to bed early. I'm drinking a coffee in the morning. I'm making sure I have a quick snack before I leave. So I'm ready to fly. And what's crazy is that this step back of landings doesn't I can't forget that I also had some steps back when it came to some maneuvers, like my power on stall and my rudder usage and my lack of coordination. So all these things definitely add up, and I think it's natural that I'm going to start feeling I'm not making any progress. It's already been a few weeks, but I guess some things come easier to some people, and part of the process I've been told and I'm seeing in myself and my own experience is that I'm taking a step back sometimes. And it's a lot of times we want that instant gratification, and you want to sign up for to be a student pilot, and then the next day you want to own an airplane. And that's just not the case when you're in flight school. It's definitely going to be an investment, an emotional investment, a physical investment, and obviously monetary investment. Yeah, so that's how I'm feeling. I'm really positive still. I keep on telling myself, I could go another 70 hours of landings, but I want this. I want to do it well. I want to do it good. I want to be confident. I want to be strong in my landings. So I'm just going to keep on pushing forward with that. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on the topic today. It was actually funny that I was watching some of my videos, so I definitely would recommend any student pilot definitely get a GoPro and put it into your airplane when you do have a chance. Today's airplane unfortunately did not have a GoPro holder, and I did not have the patience in the cold to set it up, so we just went without it today, even though I just got the piece for the audio and I'm really excited to use it. Not today. Anyways, yes, but watching those videos is really helpful after your lesson. What I did actually was I've been watching some helpful videos on landings, and one of the things I read and see and hear is that student pilots tend to over control their airplanes on the landing. And I haven't had a problem of over control yet. I'm pretty good at flying with my fingers, meaning I'm holding the yoke really just with the pressure of my fingers, not so much the palm of my hands. But when it comes to landing, in that video, I noticed that pretty much every landing, my hand was fully grasped, as if grasping for my life on that yoke. And for that reason, I believe that every time I did, move my arm a little bit to pitch up, it was like a very large movement and it wasn't smooth. So today I did try practicing a little bit of flying with my fingers, especially on the landing. The first time I did it though, I didn't pitch up at all, so we kind of just hit the ground really hard, and then and then the second and third time was a lot better. But they're just things that change. It took me some time to figure out where I put my feet on the floor to feel comfortable with the rudder. So now I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to put my hand and my fingers when I'm coming to land. Approaches were pretty good today. I definitely had some trouble with my control of speed and altitudes, flying slowly below 80 knots. We come to a point where we aim to fly at 80 knots at 1,100 feet because that's the flight pattern altitude. And today definitely was a struggle. I don't know, maybe it's that mindset. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Maybe it was the plane. I did not like the throttle on my plane today. I kind of said something to my instructor. My instructor's like, "You're making it up. Like, the throttle's not moving by itself." And I'm like, "I think it's moving by itself. Like, I didn't add this much power." But unconscious, he made a suggestion that maybe unconsciously I'm adding power without even realizing. So got to be a little more conscious of that, be more careful of that. But with that said, yep, so that's my conversation for today. It's a little longer than 5 minutes. But anyways, I hope that student pilots start watching these videos, because I think at this point in my training, I'm going to have advice for student pilots on, keep on going, keep on working strong, and let's see what's going on. And I would love to talk about a little bit of some flight school research I've been doing and some of my future plans, something I've been doing with the AOPA, but I think that'll be great for another video. Another thing is I just haven't had enough time to work on videos for what I would have loved to have recorded some videos on some topics from the airplane flying manual from the FAA. I just haven't had time. I'm really dedicated whenever I have a moment to really study my ground school lessons and, focus on weather, airspace. And then I've also started already training on some of like the 850 somewhat questions that we have in a bank for my written test, because that's going to come up right after my solo flight. Anyways, we're not flying tomorrow on Thanksgiving. I hope my instructor has off, but I don't really know. I was embarrassed to ask. And then we're flying again on Friday and Saturday morning. So there'll be plenty of updates to come. And yeah, okay, talk to you soon.